Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at a small push your luck dice game called, I'm only going to try this once, Voll verassert. There we go. That German title translates loosely, as far as I could tell, to fully messed up or fully bugged up, perhaps. Because that's what this game is about. There are bugs and you are trying to collect those bugs without, well, bugging up the works. You're going to be rolling dice, pushing your luck, trying to collect those cards and maybe have your, opponents mess with you right before you collect what you so rightfully earned. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this works. It's an interesting game, a little strange, actually. So I'm hoping that the explanation here is clear, because it's not your typical push your luck dice game. There are some concepts in here that are a little weird, to be honest. So let's take a look at it. I'll see you on the other side. In the game, each player is trying to acquire the most bugs and put them in a pile in front of them, face down, which is going to be their bug heap. And whoever has the most cards in here at the end of the game is going to be the winner. To begin, each player gets one of each kind in front of them. This is called the front yard. So you're going to put those there. It's an area separate from the bug heap, which begins empty, of course. And then you flip over 10 random cards, organize those by colors. And these are the 4 colors. And all the dice are set in place with that 2-line side facing up. And you are ready to begin. So on your turn, the first thing you are going to do is select which group of bugs you are rolling for, trying to take some bugs from that group. We have just this group here at the beginning, the main set, but it is possible that, based on what the previous player did, that there is a separate group of bugs over here that they were attempting to capture, and you can then target that group and try to steal some of those away from that previous player before they bank those cards. I'll show you that in 1 second. So I'll be the start player over here on this side, and this is my group of bugs. So on my turn, I have to select 4 dice at least, or more, and I will roll those dice and try to not bust, which is basically not roll more of the matching colors than there are out here on this group. So I am going to do that. Another thing I can do before I roll, before every one of my rolls, in fact, is I can take cards from in front of me and add them to this group. So I will do that because with a single yellow there, it's quite likely I might roll more than 1 yellow and bust. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to throw this card out there. I could do them all if I want to. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to grab 4 of these and roll them. And I'm going to now take the matching dice and put them next to the lines. So I got 2 reds, 1 blue, and the other one went back to that face there. So I'm going to separate the matching cards over here in a new group. Just set them aside for a moment. And now I could stop. I can say, okay, I'm done. And these are safe until the next player, if they choose to attack it, then that's fine. But as right now, I have not messed up. Or I could keep going. The trick is, I will select 4 dice at least, again, and roll them. But the faces that are on the table do not change unless I roll them. So, if I roll these 4, after that, there are still at least 2 red and 1 blue, which would be bad. There are no more reds there. I could roll these 3 and 1 more of these if I want to and hope I don't get any more red. Or I could always add this card in here and re-roll, and I think I will do that. I'm going to add the red in there. I'm going to take 1 of these, and these 3, rather, I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave that blue alone. I'm going to roll these 4. So there we go, and I got, it looks like 3 blue, 1 yellow, and another red. That's great. So these 3 blue move over to the group I'm splitting, 1 yellow and 1 red, and now I will stop. All right? And now it goes to the next player. I don't claim this yet. The next player now has a choice between which group of cards they go for. They can go for this set. And if they don't mess up, whatever they win, let's say they're able to split from this group 3 blue and 1 of the reds, and they choose to stop without messing up, without busting, then they are going to get these. And these that were left over from my initial split come to my pile. Or If they try and they mess up, I get the whole thing. They didn't do anything. Or they don't mess with it at all and they go over here. Okay, so let's say for this example, there is no green over here. They don't want to push for it. They're going to leave it alone. So that's the first decision they make. If they make that decision, I get all these. And I'm going to, from this group, any one of them I want, I can put face up in the yard, up to 6 cards, and the rest I bank in my bug heap. I'm going to do that with all of them, okay? Now, since they decided to go for the main pile, the central loot, the first thing we do is count how many of these dice are showing, and for each one, we add 2 cards to the display. So we draw 1, 2, 3, 4. And there have to be at least 8 once that's done. Otherwise, you need to bring the pile up to 8. And there are 8. So there we go. Now that player is going to roll. Again, you'll notice now that none of the dice change between the player's turns. At no point in this game do you pick up all the dice and pass them to the next player. They are locked, unless re-rolled, for the entirety of the game. So that player is going to go. They're going to go ahead and deploy this red card here to give them a little wiggle room. And they are going to roll these 4. They'll leave that yellow there alone. Roll these 4 like so. All right, this one's one of those. This goes to blue, this goes to green, that goes to red. We split those from the central group. And it's not looking so good, so that player is going to stop there. They're not going to push their luck and bust. If they did bust, this just gets incorporated back into this group. They had nothing. All right, and I'm next here. I'm going to go ahead and let that go. It's too small to fight over. So that goes away. They bank it all. And then it's my turn. We flip over 6 cards. 2, 4, 6. And those get added out here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to roll. I'm definitely rolling that, but I feel pretty good about the other ones. So I'm leaving it alone. These 4 are getting rolled. And I got, wow, way too many green. So that is very unusual, but I rolled 5 greens, which means I bugged up, as the game says, and I will not get anything. And it'll go to the next player. So the next player on their turn don't have 2 piles to pick from. They have just the central pile, so they'll go with that. There are also no dice showing that you incorporate new cards. So none will get replenished. And they will re-roll. They're going to obviously re-roll these because they would bust the whole thing. So they're going to roll that. Great, these 3 are nothing, and that's green, so they split off that, and they split off that, and they could keep going. And in fact, they will. They're going to roll these 2 and 2 more. Again, it doesn't have to be 4 dice only, but it has to be at least 4. So they're going to try it. Oh, this is going to be bad. They got 1 green, that's great, but they got 2 red. So that's a bust. And these come back over because they pushed their luck too much. And it'll be my turn again. That's basically it. This is going to continue with you splitting off groups. Possibly the other players fighting you on that. You banking them. Or maybe putting out some in your front yard to pad out the sets on the table so that you have a little more wiggle room and don't bust until the deck is gone, until the front yards are gone to replenish things, all of that. Likely, okay? And that's it. At the end of the game, we're going to count up this pile of cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And whoever has the most there at the table is going to be the winner. And that's how you play the game. Very tricky a little bit, a little hard to explain maybe, but quirky and does feel original. So let's go back up top. Let me give you some final thoughts. All right, there we go. So let's talk about this. Overall, you know what? I really liked this. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. I wasn't expecting much, and this just gave me something I didn't really see coming. And it's original. It feels neat and unique in some ways. So I'm going to start with the negative here, and the biggest negative of all is the theme. Though you can ignore it. It's not that big of a deal, okay? But it is a supremely weird theme. Not in the fact that you're collecting bugs. Okay, sure, but this write-up is gold. What they write in the rule book here, their introduction, makes no sense. I swear some of these words were randomly picked. Everything is full of bugs, and there are constantly new ones coming. Is there a wild bug party going on today in your basement playroom? Or will you manage to keep the creepy crawlers away from your doorstep in time? Treat them to a cool bug heap for a gothic underground happening. Of course, you first need to get a hold of the entire bunch of the little rascals. But with 7 dice, that should be a piece of cake for you, right? What? No sense. So there you go. That's the theme. Let's move on from that. The other thing I thought was just okay is the aesthetics. Actually, the artwork is cool. I like the look of the cards a lot. This artist is great. There are only 4 pieces of artwork in the whole thing for the 4 colors. But the card quality is just okay. The dice, some of them are printed off center, which is unfortunate. There's only 7 of them. I don't know if you can spot that. But some of these faces are certainly off-centered on the dice. So they are, you know, they're a little bit indented on there, but they likely will rub off if you play this too much. So there's so few things. I was hoping they would be a really quality production. It's okay. It's an okay production. Everything else I do like. The replayability is pretty good. There are no variants in here. There's nothing you won't see every game. But the order in which the cards come out, the size of the group you're fighting for, especially playing from your front yard, right? Those cards you can pad out the set you're rolling against. That's cool, and that does add to the replayability. It's a little thinkier, especially late game, than I would have expected. So replayability is good. The game length is tight. It's not a game that outstays its welcome. Like I said, it has some nice end game tension. It has a nice ramp up effect at the end. A lot of these little games feel like whatever rule they find for game wrap up feels a little weird and artificial and anticlimactic sometimes. This is not, which I was surprised by. The end feels tight and cool, and I was like, okay, well, I better put out a couple more bugs out there so I can roll against that. And ooh, okay, and the deck is gone, so you're not replenishing anymore. So that was a nice fight. You know, when you're fighting at the end, it leads to some neat moments. The ease of play. It's a tricky game to grasp at first because it is quirky. It is unique in some ways. You know, I was not expecting this. When you say push your luck dice game, there are things that you take for granted almost. One of them being, when it's my turn, I grab the dice and I roll them. You don't do that in this game. Like, I can't just grab all of the 7 dice and pass them to the next player. You can't change the faces. You know, so that's such a neat, bizarre concept just right there. And so I like that. I like the way that feels. But yes, it's a little tricky to teach the first time. This is what I captured, but I don't take it yet. I gotta wait for you, see if you want to fight me for it. So all of that is pretty neat. And then lastly, tactics, strategy, luck. Yes, there's a bunch of luck, of course. It's a push your luck dice game. But I do like the little bit of manipulation that you can do. That, you know, decision of, do I mess with your set? Or do I try to grab my own and just let you take that? Do I pad out the sets with my cards? Or leave it alone, push my luck? When I collect a group, do I put some of those out in front of me, face up, to manipulate? Because those don't score for me. Those aren't points. I got to bank them to be points. So that's a cool decision. So overall, this is a game that, even though it comes in this little box, feels a little bit bigger than this. And I like that. It looks like a kid's game. Feels a little bit older than that. So I enjoy all those things about this one. So here's my bottom line for it. A clever and original dice game that feels fresh while using a game concept, push your luck, that has been done to death. This is going to get a 7.5 out of 10 from me, which is a strong seal of approval. I really recommend it, and I think a lot of people are going to overlook it because of the way it is presented. Don't. This is a good one. You want to try this out. I think you're going to have a good time with it. It's just a cool, neat concept. So there you go. That's whatever that is, however that's pronounced. Fully bugged up. I'm going to call it just bugged up. That's what it should say if this gets reprinted in English. Bugged up is what they should go with. That's it, everybody. I am Zee Garcia. Thanks for checking this out with me. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.